Hey there and welcome to AutumnAfar, and welcome back to those of you who've joined me before. As always, any of the links that I've used will be put in the description box below, and I encourage you to do your own research to see what works best for you. This video is about choosing gear, packing cubes, dry bags, pillows, blankets, neck rests, hydration packs, water bottles, backpacks versus luggage. There are so many options to consider when you are going to be purchasing things or borrowing things for traveling. And it can be damn near impossible to figure out what it is you need and what you don't need. So this is going to be a really quick video about the different things, how I feel about them, and what they are best used for in my experience. Some of these things are things I don't use simply because they don't work for me, but they might work for you, and that's completely fine. Everybody develops their own style, and if it works for you, keep going. So I've got notes here, so I'm going to keep looking down. I'm going to try not to, but we'll see. The first thing you need to figure out if you're purchasing things when you're starting from zero is what your budget is. You don't necessarily need to go and buy a $1,000 backpack and every single thing that the people at the store tell you to buy. So it's a really good idea to look into things before you purchase them so you can figure out what will work. If you can borrow things from friends and give that a shot, I highly recommend that. If, like me, you've used specific types of bags for different types of travel, factor that in as well. And check secondhand sites. There are a lot of places now that allow you to rent backpacks and other luggage so that you don't have to keep it. Just make sure that it, doesn't get ruined. You can also purchase things secondhand from sites like Kijiji or Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, just to name a couple. I know there's a ton more, and they can be really, really fantastic because some people just don't want to hold on to the stuff once they're done with it. The first thing that you need to consider is the bag you will bring with you. That is the determining factor for just about everything else that you bring. So there are really two options. There's a backpack and those traditional roller bags. Personally, I almost always bring a backpack because I just find it so much easier. Depending where you're going, the location you arrive in might not have an elevator or an escalator. They might only have a little tiny staircase. And with a roller bag, it can be really, really difficult to carry it up, especially if you have more than one, because some people will carry their little roller bag and they'll also carry purses or duffel bags or something like that, depending on how many bags they've brought with them. For both carry-on and checked bags, you can bring either one, but I really don't necessarily recommend doing carry-on only if you're not used to it, because it can get really, really difficult if you're not used to packing very little. So if you're using a traditional luggage, the wheelie kind with the big handle, you have two options: hard-sided, soft-sided. So hard-sided luggage can be really fantastic because it will keep water, dirt, mud, things like that from outside from seeping in, whereas the soft-sided ones, if you're caught in a torrential downpour, might potentially seep through or leak into your bag and get all of your stuff all wet, which if you're carrying any electronics or valuables in that bag is bad news, obviously. However, depending on the bag and how long you've had it, these bags also have a tendency eventually to crack or break, either through wear and tear or to rough handling, either by yourself or by a carrier of some kind, whether it's an airline or a train. So that's something definitely to look into, because once it's been cracked, it might not be worth it for you to keep that bag. But I don't have much experience with them, so I can't speak to that. Another issue with the hard shells that the soft shell bags don't have is that they don't stretch. Once you've filled it to its capacity, it's not going any further. The soft shells give you a little bit more leeway, which can be a good thing and a bad thing because you also don't want to go over your weight limit. So I would say factor those things in if you're considering a traditional bag. So once you've picked your bag, one thing that I've never really understood that a lot of people seem to enjoy immensely are packing cubes. I have a couple, but I've never used them because I just don't get it. I roll my clothes and I've never really seen a reason to use a packing cube. I guess I'm just a little bit more used to packing in a certain way. So this is actually a packing cube that I got just before I took a trip to Australia and New Zealand. I bought these for the trip. They did not end up coming with me. The reason being is that I find it very constricting to try and fit everything into this little cube, and I don't find that it works for me. If it works for other people, fantastic, but the shape of my backpack and the shape of the cubes just did not work for me, unfortunately. But if I was going to be traveling with a square traditional luggage, this might be fantastic, but I don't typically do that, so I keep those in case someone else needs them, and I lend them out when needed, but I don't use them myself. So I would recommend packing cubes like these for people who aren't necessarily used to packing a bag for long periods of time and who like to have things neat and organized. If you can, some companies offer to have them in different colors, so you can color code your shirts, your pants, and dirty versus clean. If that helps you, I've managed to make it so that the stuff that's on the very bottom or on one side versus the other is dirty or clean, and I pack my bag based on weight. So another item that is pretty highly debated are hydration packs versus water bottles. Personally, I like the water bottles because I don't have to worry so much about cleaning the tube that goes from a hydration pack. Basically what it is it's a big sack of water with a tube that typically runs down to a strap, and you're able to drink from there. I can see why it would be really useful if you're going to be doing long-term trips or hiking, but for me, it's not something that I've needed so far. I prefer to take water bottles. So typically I'll carry around a plastic water bottle like this one that is dually insulated, and you're able to get all the way down into it so that you can clean it properly. And this also comes off so that you can clean this. So the whole thing comes apart so that it can be properly cleaned, which is phenomenal. Typically if I'm staying in a city or if I'm going for a really short trip, I will use a small little metal water bottle like this one I got from G Adventures. It's also dually insulated, but it's all metal. One of the reasons I will only take this on short trips or on trips where I'm going to somewhere warm is because your lips on a cold metal bottle in the middle of winter is not something I would recommend to anybody. There is one kind of water bottle like this one that I have from Mana, which is metal. It's dually insulated and it has a metal lip, so I'm able to clean this. I'm able to get all the way down into it, and it's also really big. I can keep stuff warm in this for about 12 hours, and when I've used this in the summer, the stuff has stayed cold with ice for over 24 hours. So this is a really fantastic thing to bring with you if you're traveling somewhere warm. So some of the other stuff that a lot of people talk about are simply extras, but some of them can be really, really useful. Two that come to mind are small wallets like this that are RFID, which means no one can come by and swipe with their phone and get your credit card information and steal your money or your information, identity, anything like that. So you're protected no matter where you are. Most people aren't looking for small things like this, so it's a really fantastic thing to have. And it comes with a bunch of different areas, 4 different cards, which is great. The one downside to wallets like this is it doesn't necessarily give you a lot of space for cash, so you might need to find another place for that. Another thing that is really, really fantastic is a dry bag. So basically what you do with this is you would take something and then you would roll it, and then you would clip it. And the goal with this is to keep anything that's in here dry so that it doesn't get ruined by water. This is really fantastic if you're going out on a boat or if you're going to be going out anywhere and there's rain in the forecast, because that way you can stick all of your electronics in there and they won't get wet, they won't get ruined. Thank you again so much for joining me today. I really hope to get better at this. I'm not used to talking about this kind of stuff in this format, so I'm really hoping to get better. If you have any suggestions on how to make it better or suggestions for future videos, definitely reach out to me either here or in the comments or on any of my socials. I'm at AutumnAfar on everything. And remember, a little progress every day leads up to big results.